FT Live coming in hot. We're going to talk about the big Framber Valdez news right from the jump, and we do have a special guest joining us right at the top. I mean, he's special because we love him. He does appear somewhat frequently as an insider on FT. It's Braun. I'm back with Kratz and with AJ. The Framber Valdez news broke late last night, so we're about to talk to USA Today and FT insider Bob Nightengale about how it all went down. Also, if you were watching yesterday's show, I thought the first segment was freaking hilarious, where both Kratz and AJ had comedic takes on why the Pirates were in on Framber, but not really. So we'll get to Nightengale in just a moment. But just to remind everyone, yesterday, AJ said, prove it. Kratz said, I will publicly apologize on the show. And we're ready to go.
That's a stop on.
Okay.
Just that.
Here's Bob Nightengale. Let's talk about it. Bob with us right now. We appreciate the time as always. Good to see you, Bob. And you kind of nailed it the other day when you were talking about the possibility of the Tigers and Framber Valdez and how that would be a pretty beautiful marriage for a team that really needs to push their chips in this year. So can you elaborate? And I'm guessing you weren't surprised necessarily to see them land him, were you?
I still thought he'd go to the Baltimore Orioles. I think the Orioles really need him. I thought it was a very smart on the Tigers' part. Like, okay, hey, we know they're not going to, re-sign Tarik Skubal, and now they have the race set up. And if things go sideways this summer, could move them, but things would have to go really bad. I love the move. I just thought it was being aggressive, and now they got their guy to replace Tarik Skubal for next year.
What did you think about the timing, Bob, where you have the Tarik Skubal case looming? By the time many people watch this, we'll have an answer on the Skubal case. So the arbitration hearing had already happened, and now the decision usually comes about 24 hours later. So did you think there was anything to that with them signing Framber after the sides already exchanged their arguments, or it was completely coincidental that finally on February 4th in the evening, Framber gets the offer that he wants?
I think it's just a straight coincidence. I really do. And, I think they've been working on this for a while, very quiet. So, okay, we got to have a guy to replace Skubal at some point. So, no, I just think, worst comes to worst, they're out $13 million. But, they do have the race for 2027 and maybe 2028, too. So, no, I just think it's a coincidence. I really do.
You mentioned the Orioles before as where you thought he was going to land. Any inclination of if they were going, maybe longer term, obviously lower AAV, or if there was like a level that they were just like, we're not going over?
I think they were going to go short term as well. I mean, they did offer 5 years for Ranger Suarez, but I think in this case, teams were kind of backing off a little bit. Like, okay, he's throwing a lot of innings, about 8 or 9 innings the last 4 years. Do we have some concerns about the arm? So I don't think he was going to get a long-term deal. I think everybody you talk to, we're talking about short-term. So even though he wanted, Dylan C-Stock contract, 7 at, 210, it wasn't going to happen.
Based on, you just said Ranger Suarez too. What do you think is a bigger miss for the Orioles? The fact that, the crime dog, McGriff.
Hey, what's up?
Special guest.
The biggest smile
Fred.
in the game.
Tell Fred I said hello, Bob. Fred,
Hey,
what up?
I owe you, man. See, I couldn't take care of you at the All-Star game last year. So once Bob told me he was coming on, I'm like, I got to break in. I got to interrupt because
Doggy.
AJ's the man.
Dog, listen, you owe me a round of golf. Forget this. I need to get over to, when I'm in Tampa, I'm going to need to hit you up for like OM or somewhere nice. So just know that call is coming.
That's the deal. I owe you.
All right.
Drop in by Fred McGriff, who everybody's listening, everybody's watching, obviously.
Hall of
easily
Famer Fred McGriff, by the way.
Yeah. Easily the greatest smile in the game. But anyway, my question was, who did the Orioles miss on bigger? Not signing Ranger or not signing Framber? Because in my opinion, I think there's a bigger miss based on how I think it would fit into their rotation.
I think a bigger miss on Framber. I really do. I thought he was the best free agent starter on the market, even more than Cease. So I'm stunned they didn't get one of those two guys. And now you got to wonder. I know they've talked to Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen would make perfect sense too. He does have a qualifying offer attached to him, so we'll see if they go that route.
Bob, we talked about it yesterday, and tell me that we were crazy. Where were the Pittsburgh Pirates on this? Were they close? Because every big free agent, we keep hearing, oh, they're aggressively pursuing Kyle Schwarber. They're aggressively pursuing Tarik Skubal arbitration-wise. They're, aggressively pursuing Dylan Cease, Framber Valdez, Pete Alonso. Name every free agent. But they never get to that point, right, where they're actually – they might be in the running, but they've never gotten to the point where, like, hey, we're really close to getting this guy.
It's almost like, the Tigers went on the radar. It seems like you really want a guy, you don't publicize it. So I'm with you. It's like, they want to tell everybody, hey, we tried, we, missed out, we got this money, but, they didn't do anything with it. Talked to a couple of GMs the other day, and they said, how about the Pirates? And I said, the Pirates always, talk about it, but they don't do it. They don't take that next step. So I think it was just more of a PR type thing.
Bob, have the Tigers overextended themselves? Have they just completely maxed out their budget by signing Framber Valdez?
Well, I think they thought, you know what? It's almost like the Toronto Blue Jays. You see how much money you're going to make. I think it's going to boost season ticket sales. I think now the fans are excited. Like, okay, we're making a lot of noise for the last couple of years. Why not us? Why can't we get to the World Series? And I think it's smart, too. Like, okay, you got Skubal for one more year. Let's take advantage of him right now.
Bob, by the way, I just want to say this for all the people on Twitter saying, oh, the Tigers are not cheap. They're not cheap. You're right. The Tigers actually with Skubal and now with Framber, bringing back Glaber, bringing in Kenley Jansen. If Skubal wins, I think they'll have a top 10 payroll. So good job on them. But maybe the question is no one's ever called the Tigers cheap. We're just wanting them to go out and spend because they have this window with Skubal. Now with Framber there, it might extend that, but they also lose Flaherty and there's some other things that can happen. So I think that the Tigers deserve a ton of credit for going out and doing this, like you said. So I just want to make sure that you can reiterate the fact that the Tigers aren't cheap. They just struck maybe later than I think most people wanted them to.
Right. They didn't get the big PR campaign out of it by signing him early for more season ticket sales. They're not cheap. Remember when Mike Ilitch was the owner, he was spending as much money as anybody. He had massive payrolls, giving Miguel Andujar that money, bringing in Pudge and the likes. Obviously, you had a star-studded rotation. They should have won a World Series or two. That team was that good, but they were never cheap. It's just that when Mike Ilitch passed away, and then the family hasn't spent as much as Mike did.
Hey, Bob, by the way, are the Tigers ruining baseball? Because their disparity now between the AL Central and the Detroit Tigers is so big. Like the Dodgers, everyone says, oh, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. So the Tigers ruining the AL Central?
That's the thing. That's all GMs always talk about. Man, I wish I was in the AL Central, or I wish I was in the NL Central, because nobody's spending money. You're absolutely right. That's the easiest division to bounce back from. I think even with the White Sox, people say, well, White Sox have ways to go. But, hey, you're in the AL Central. You can turn it around a lot quicker.
The what-ifs are always happening. Last year, what if they had gotten Bregman? Would they have beaten the Mariners and gone on to the World Series? What if the Tigers had gotten Bregman? Would this Valdez thing not have happened and possibly shortened their window because Skubal would be gone and then you'd be out of a number one?
Well, I think if they had Bregman, then you still have, the prospects that are ready to play. So they could have easily turned around and trade for Freddie Peralta. So I think they still would have done this. I don't think Bregman would have handicapped him by any means. And who knows, maybe Bregman would have insisted on the same type of contract where he could have opted out. But I think they would have just turned around and say, you know what, we'll go trade for a starter because now we have more trade chips.
Hey, Bob, you mentioned him earlier, Zach Gallen. Where the heck is he going to sign? We haven't heard really anything about Zach Gallen other than, oh, the Diamondbacks are now a possibility because of the pick that's associated with them and all that stuff. Have we heard anything? Do we have anything like formal on Zach? I thought, I hate to bring this up, Bob, but you said he was signing with the Cubs months ago, which was, I know was a mistake, but I thought it was funny because it got Cubs fans' hopes up and then it broke their hearts. So thank you for that. But is there any news on Zach Gallen?
The three teams you keep hearing are Baltimore Orioles, and this is before the news yesterday. Still the Cubs, I've talked to them, and the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks keep saying they'd have to be creative, like they'll bring him back. But then, if he leaves again as a free agent, you don't get a draft pick out of it. So I think they'd want him more than 1 year just to make it worth their while. I really believe that of all the guys that had the qualifying offers hurt Zach Gallen the most.
Is there a world where teams are looking at Chris Bassett as more valuable than Zach Gallen because of that qualifying offer?
Yeah, in some respects, for sure. Like Atlanta, for instance, if they had signed a guy with a qualifying offer like Gallen, they lose a 24th pick in the draft. They lose a first-round draft pick. They're not going to do that. So to your point, yeah, guys like Giolito and him as well, you got more value just because there's no qualifying offer. So, I mean, people love Bassett. Yeah, you got to think that Atlanta is going to sign one of these guys.
Jeez. Well, by the way, the qualifying offer, we have a CBA coming up. The qualifying offer is going to have to be discussed. I know they changed it in the last one, but if it's hurting guys' free agency the way that you just mentioned about Zach Gallen and some other guys in the past, don't you think that's going to be another thing? Another thing, Bob, that we're going to have to talk about, the CBA.
Well, remember, it almost went away last time. It was in exchange for the international draft. If you have an international draft, they're going to do away with the qualifying offer. That was debated, and finally, the union said, no, we want the international draft. So MLB says, okay, the qualifying offer sticks. So I think that would be a big thing for sure. Let's see, we have an international draft. But the international draft goes away, so do the qualifying offers.
Can you rank the teams that have the most heat on them right now? With the Red Sox needing another infield bat, with the Pirates always just looking for one more piece, or, even the Orioles talking about starting pitcher. Who has the most heat on them to make the next move, or maybe their last move this offseason?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think it is the Red Sox. People still waiting for the infielder that they don't have. It's nice to have the starting pitching. It's nice to have the lowest ERA. But Texas Rangers had the lowest ERA last year, and where'd that get them? So you need some thump in that lineup. But yeah, I think the Red Sox easily have the most heat on them. Maybe followed by the Yankees. I still think people want the Yankees to do more. I know the Phillies fans are upset. They don't want to run the same team back, but they can always make some changes here. Sometime in spring training or in the trade deadline.
Hey, Bob, let's get into your column that you wrote in USA Today about the new group of managers. Can you elaborate on some of the background work that you did with very notable managers in this era, very notable former managers, and their comments?
Well, I mean, they wait, 10 new managers, and 5 of them don't have any experience at all. Everybody's making a big thing, obviously talking about the NFL going 0 for 10. No black coaches. There's no black managers either that came in. So I think, guys like, Ernie Witt, he's up there in age now, but certainly a Benji Gill, guys who have paid their dues, like a Snicker obviously paid his dues. We're seeing that. And now just, guys are coming up with absolutely no experience. And, maybe it could work because they're not making out their own lineups. The front offices now are dictating moves. But it's a shame for the guys, to spend all this time in the minor leagues thinking you're going to get a shot, and you don't.
Well, hold on, Bob. Before we get off this, Butera spent a few years in the minor leagues. He spent like 3 years in the minor leagues. Isn't that enough time, Bob, to be ready to manage a big league team?
10.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but it's just not the time. It's like, you see, you're in the minor leagues, or you're in the major league coaching staff for years, and now it's like guys, aren't even on a major league coaching staff and coming up. And so, I think the one part is that you're talking to Dusty Baker about it is, how come teams are so afraid to hire former players? A lot of these former players make the best coaches, and you're not getting that same instruction. I mean, look at all the errors we see. Look at the base running blunders we see, night after night. So a lot of these, it's almost like you have 2 strikes against you. If you play the game, you have experience, you're 0 for 2.
Well, you know why, Bob, right?
Threats?
You know why? Huh?
Can't get threats, or it can't control, or what?
Yeah, I would say it's because the players might fight back a little bit on some of this stuff, right? If you can, and I don't mean this against, listen, I made a joke about Butera, and I didn't mean it. I'm sure he's going to be a wonderful manager. We've talked to him. He was great to talk to, right? But yes, a lot of the former players make the argument, and that's why, remember, the Phillies brought in Mattingly because one of the things was players saying we don't have anybody that have experienced it. Well, if you don't have people that have experienced being in the box, being on that mound in the World Series or in playoff and big situations, it's hard for somebody to communicate that. And I think as a former player, and I don't know this, but they push back a little bit on that and say, whoa, you've never played. You don't understand what it's like. Whereas if you hire somebody that hasn't been there and doesn't understand it, oh, yes, whatever you want me to do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And listen, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just think, in my opinion, that's kind of what's happening.
I agree. I think that's what hurt Albert Pujols. Interviewed for the Angels, interviewed for the Padres. I think they sense in the interviews that there's going to be some pushback here. I can control Albert. I thought Albert would have been a perfect choice for either spot. Torrey Hunter interview with the Angels and the Twins, same thing. So I think the game's gotten away from that. And I think the game suffers from it. I think it'll be interesting this year with so many new guys, and let's see if experience hurts them or not.
Yeah, it's about a third of the league, so it's going to be fun.
As long as they don't pull
right?
the Gabe Kapler and Ozzie Guillen, where they walk out to the mound and raise their left hand when they really want the right-handed guy. Remember when both those guys did that one time?
Yeah, calling the wrong guy up, and I think there'd be a lot of scrutiny on Antonio Vitello. Unfortunately for him, ordered a lot of enemies, and a lot of managers are saying, "Wait a minute now, this guy has never managed before in his life and professionally, never been a coaching staff. He's making $3.5 million a year. That's about double more than anyone's ever gotten as a first-year manager. There's only a handful of guys making 3.5. So I think a lot of people are going to say, okay, let's beat the Giants. We're almost mad at him just because how much he's getting paid.
Ooh,
ain't his fault.
I like that.
Ain't his fault.
No, not his fault.
Good agent right there.
He's making 3.2, I think, at Tennessee. So he pretty much said, I'm not taking a pay cut. And the Giants said, okay, you got it.
And also, MLB, come on. If you want the best talent, if you think there's a manager that's in college ball and should be in the majors, you should be able to bring him in. Like the pay gap is ridiculous.
The money shouldn't be a
thing. Yeah, a few $100,000 in baseball versus college baseball terms is hilarious. But Bob, good insight. Yeah, we'll follow this storyline. Fascinating. We met Vitello recently in person. I thought he's very impressive. I think he's going to do well. Of course, it depends on the roster, but good catching up with you. Thanks to Crime Dog Fred McGriff for saying hello. Give him a hug and a high five for us, and we'll catch you soon. Yeah,
he wants to wave goodbye. He wants to wave goodbye.
That's a perfect way to end this.
Great job, AJ. Tell it like it is. Hey, we've forgotten common sense, dude. You know what I mean? They lost common sense.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, Crime Dog, listen, you don't know anything about hitting. You didn't even hit 500 homers, you don't know one thing about hitting.
Hey, so that's why, they talking about launch angle and everything else, man. Hey, common sense, right?
Helicopter finish, tell them.
Hey, launch angle is measured after you make contact, right? Not before, right? So now you got all these guys, I laugh, and the batters in the on-deck circle, they're like, I'm like, okay.
Hey, helicopter finish.
Perfectly stated. Bob, thank you for the Fred McGriff cameo. This was more than we bargained for. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. We're back to watch the Kings Open. See you guys.
Yes, exactly. Enjoy it.
Oh, Bob. Stay sober, Bob.
I like
it.
Yeah.
I haven't had a drink yet. I'm about to start.
Good job.
Perfect. And waited. Enjoy your day, Bob. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Charging the mound.
All right. Let's have some fun talking about Framber Valdez landing with the Tigers. First off, AJ, I need to give full credit to Detroit. I was quite critical of their offseason, but their offseason wasn't done yet. And if you looked at their offseason before this, you're like, cool, they brought some guys back that were actually, they didn't even have the choice. Gleyber Torres returning right with the qualifying offer. They signed Kyle Finnegan. They had him already. They signed him back. Kenley Jansen was an addition. Drew Anderson coming from overseas. But it was a very, very weak looking offseason until they land Framber Valdez. $38 million, highest ever average annual value. 38 per year, I should say. Highest average annual value for a left-handed pitcher ever. 3 years, $115 million. It's the most money and the most years given out during the Scott Harris era since he's taken over as the Tigers leader in the front office. Yes, they did offer Bregman more than that last year, but he didn't take it. So your thoughts on all of this and how it makes the 1-2 punch for the Tigers look really good?
Two things on this. One, first of all, if you went into this offseason and said, and now these guys weren't on the Tigers last year, Glaber, Finnegan, there was another, there was another one they brought back. And they brought those guys in. Kenley, let's just use Kenley, okay? You'd be like, man, the Tigers had a pretty good offseason. But because some of those guys were already on the Tigers, then you're like, oh, they just brought back the same team, kind of like the argument with the Yankees is, right? Now, you throw Framber in top. Yes, now you have a 1-2 punch. And what did AJ Hinch say when we talked to him all the time? We need another guy behind Tarik to really take pressure off Tarik. They're hoping it would be Jack Flaherty. He's up and down, right? They're hoping it's been Casey Mize. He's had injury problems. He did make the All-Stars team last year, though. Reese Olson had some injury problems. But now you go Tarik, Framber, you throw Jack against a 3 with the way AJ Hinch can manage a bullpen in the postseason. Casey Mize looking good as a 4. Olson as the 5. This is a pretty good starting rotation. And you throw in McGonigal and some of the other guys that they have coming. The Tigers are on the rise, even if Skubal leaves, just because they have Framber for 3 years. I love what they've done. Now, once it's done, they might go out and sign someone else. Who the heck knows? But right now, where they're at, I love where the Tigers position themselves, especially, as Bob Nightengale said, in an AL Central that you can go up really fast.
There's a lot of teams that have like 5 quality pitchers. And I would say some of those rotations, people would argue, are better. Nobody has a top-heavy lineup like this. Obviously, or top-heavy rotation like this. Obviously, if Zach Wheeler comes back and is a top 3 Cy Young finisher again this year, and so is Christopher Sanchez, I think that would be a power-packed 1-2. But 1-2, based on the fact that the numbers across the league, American League Central, National League, doesn't matter, against lefties, has been way down. This is a massive, massive pickup for a team who has gone to the playoffs the last 2 years and said, all right, well, if I can just figure out how to win one other game, Skubal's going to win it. And then they go out and lose Skubal's games in different fashions, and the Tigers still move on. So now the fact that they have 2 lefties that are both number 1, Skubal being an ace, Framber being a high-quality 1, this is the most top-heavy rotation in the game for sure.
Well, top-heavy, I mean, I like some of the guys that fill out there.
Totally.
You're just saying it's a really nice 1-2. Top-heavy means there's not much on the bottom. There's still talent.
There is.
Totally.
3, 4, 5. Yeah.
There totally is. But as far as like the fact that Framber is a number 1 for all but maybe 8 teams, and he slots in behind the best pitcher in the game. Paul Skeens could be the best pitcher. I get it. There's an argument there, but Skeens is the best pitcher in the game, and then you slot a number 1 behind him. We heard this from tons of teams. The Red Sox started out the offseason. We're not going to go pick up any 3s or 4s. Like, we're looking for a number 1 to slot in behind Garrett Crochet. They had their chance. If you slot in a Framber Valdez behind there, if you slot in, a Freddie Peralta behind there, then, hey, you know what? The Red Sox have that top-heavy rotation. I don't mean top-heavy in a negative way, because I really like what Reese Olson does. I think Jack Flaherty has shown that he has flashes of brilliance. I think he's a gamer, and I think he goes out there every day. And I think Casey Mize has a chance to have an entire full season of an all-star type of pitcher and not just, some flashes. But if he stays healthy, he's already shown what he can do. So, yes, I think it's a great rotation, but it is ridiculous that you get to go into a playoff series, which is their goal, with a 1-2 punch of Framber and Tarik.
I'm only mad about one thing here.
Wow.
Honestly. I saw Scott Harris at the BBWAA. He didn't tell us that this was coming down the pipeline. I mean, it would have been nice.
I might not have known.
When I saw him, I mean, he could have been like, hey, I just want you to know, like, just pulled me to the side.
Oh.
Hey, off the record, we're going to sign Framber. Just don't tell anybody. Okay, I won't. But just so I would have known in the back of my head. And when everyone was saying Pirates, Orioles, I could have been like, what about the Tigers? I would have looked really smart, but I understand.
Well, don't you think Framber probably was trying to get How much did Ranger Suarez get? 130 something?
130, 5 years.
Yeah. So maybe he was trying to get that even if it was over 4 years, whatever it is, right? You're trying to play some game in your head where
Yeah,
it's
but I
4
don't care
years,
about them,
130
Scott.
something, and then he comes down on the
All
price,
about
and then
foul
the
territory.
Tigers are like, okay, we're in now.
It's all about foul territory, though, Scott. Look how smart we would have looked if we just would have said the Tigers were in.
Company
with
man.
I'm with
Yes,
you. I
thank
just
you.
my point is that I don't know if they knew they were in at that point yet. That's the thing. I can actually give you a difference. 'cause I
Bob
know
said
you
this
didn't
has
read.
been going on for weeks now, so he knew. He knew. Scott, when I see you, I don't know when I'll see you, Scott, but I'm coming for you. I'm just kidding. I love Scott
Monday.
Harris. He's hilarious.
Monday. Oh, me? Monday. Other
No,
Scott?
Scott Harris. No. I love Scott Harris. Actually, he's great. So I can't. It's all in fun. Okay. Just everyone understand it's all in fun.
This was the first time that he
Careful.
gave up a pick with a signing too, right? He had been playing the long game, and we were saying all offseason, when is this team going to push their chips in? This is the kind of move that pushes your chips in and says, hey, can we now get to the postseason and make a run riding these two starters? And it looks like that is definitely possible. We're talking to AJ Hinch, Tigers manager, tomorrow. Good timing. This is the team of the week between this signing and the arbitration result. Again, if you're watching right now, we don't know yet, but if you're watching later, a lot of people do. We might get that answer. So we'll let you know as soon as we find it out. But also, this team has not one, not two, but 3 free agents in their starting rotation coming up after this season. It's not just Skubal. Casey Mize and Jack Flaherty are both free agents. So let's assume
All
you
in.
lose all of them. Framber Valdez is still there. But yes, all in is the situation right now. And this team has some nice prospects coming up through the pipe, but it does look like this is one of their better chances to win a World Series this season coming up. The starting rotation certainly has it. What?
Oh, no, I just have one comment. I just thought about it, and maybe we'll talk about it with Hinch tomorrow. When Hinch got the job with the Tigers, he and I were talking, and he was talking about what they have coming down the pipeline. He's like, this is unbelievable. This is like the pitching that we have coming down the pipeline is pretty sick. And the fact that not every one of those dudes that we talked about when he and I spoke for a while hit, and the Tigers still went in and made some other moves should show teams who have this like plethora of pipeline, it's just not going to work out. If you have 4 prospects, you're lucky if 2 work out. If you have 6 prospects, you're lucky if 2 or 3 work out. Like, it's not your entire organization ready. So good for the Tigers for saying, okay, Casey Mize seems like he's hit. Skubal, obviously, has hit. But if you go back to when Hinch was first hired, there were some other guys that didn't hit that they thought were going to anchor this rotation, and they've built this playoff team during this time, and they're not afraid to continue to add to it, and I think other teams need to do this.
I agree. And for Framber, I mean, the age hurts him a little bit in terms of how many years he's looking for. He's been super solid and consistent. I know you mentioned Kratz yesterday on the show while I was gone, how he makes his starts every single year. Maybe teams tried to ding him in the second half. He was a little weaker. His stuff dropped off a bit over a 5 ERA. The walk rates creeped up. I think it was the highest it had been in 4 years. But to me, we're nitpicking the sinker curveball combination, the ground balls that he gets. There's just a lot to like. And AJ, when you watch him pitch, it looks like that's going to last. He's also got the build. This is not a fragile dude. This is a big dude. Yeah, yes. You're more worried. I mean, just being straightforward here, you're more worried about the mental game. And let's forget the Salazar incident. We've talked about that enough. It's just he is a guy where you speak to teammates and people around him where you're like, you gotta harness it, right? He's even talked about working with mental skills coaches, stuff like that. That's not a secret. Those are stories that have actually been a success story. Let's keep in mind, he signed out of the Dominican Republic for $10,000 at 21 years old. Do you know how many people make it at 21 years old when they're signed as an international guy? Almost zero. And especially when it's a 10K dude, that means they don't really like you. They just think like this is a complete lottery ticket. We'll give it a shot. There's one tool, one pitch, something that we like. So he is a super, super development story from the Houston Astros, who ends up being a super contributor to them for a long period of time. But anyway, it's more about, hey, can we keep this in here and keep him in the game, right? Can we keep the brain, the mind intact He's a competitor. He pitches, as you can see here from Chandler Rome, signed in 2015. At one point in 2019, he was on the 40-man chopping block. And then from 2020 to 2025, he's worth about 19 wins by Baseball Reference WAR, 128 ERA plus, 973 innings, World Series clinching game that he won. As Chandler said, he defines player development success. That's impressive if you look at the whole body of work and now the result paying off with a big contract.
All right. Congratulations. We haven't even mentioned congratulations to Framber and his family, and congratulations to the Tigers. I mean, we're talking about everything else, but let's not forget, congratulations to Framber and his family. Good for you, man. You stuck it out and you did it.
Yep. Opt out after year 2, just in case he's like the best pitcher in baseball the next couple of years or one of the best and wants to take another dip and try and get a 2 or 3 year deal instead of just the one that he would have left at that point heading into 2028. There are deferrals. We don't know what that looks like yet. So the number in net present value, which is 115, might change a little bit. This is a guy who went to the GM meetings to plead his case, right? It all comes together here towards the end of the offseason, right? Heading into spring training. Last point here, and then we'll get to some other signings. Did you guys see the Jesse Rogers tweet? Our friend Jesse tweeting about who else was in on Framber. I almost thought it was like a parody tweet. It said the Orioles were in. Okay. It said the Blue Jays were in. Did you guys see the third team? It wasn't like Pittsburgh.
The other day. Oh, you mean recently?
You'll never guess the third team that he go to his Twitter while we're talking right now. Let's do this exercise. I want to see your response. One of you guys, just if you have your phone available, cue up your phone. You haven't said the team yet. And I want you guys to see.
Rockies.
We're in the same range in terms of how things are going lately.
Nats?
Twins.
Oh, we have it. Come on.
They were in on Freddie too, supposedly.
They're trying.
Freddie who? Prince? No freaking.
They were in on Freddie Peralta.
Wrong Prince.
That one actually makes a little more sense because Freddie doesn't cost much, but no, that one makes sense because he doesn't cost much in terms of money. You think the Twins were about to shell out $120 million for Framber Valdez this offseason after what they've done before this and what they've done over the last 3 years? They were suddenly just going to be like, just kidding, we want Framber.
Were they like that guy at an auction where it's like, hey, I'll take $100, two. Can I get a 3? Can I get a 3? And they like scratched their head and they were like, oh, we got 400. And Twins were like, no, and then someone else bid and they're like, that was close.
No, we've done this exercise before. They're not that. What they are is the person at the auction that says, I'm just going to act like I can ball with everyone else. So I'm just going to go right early on. Watch this, right? And they're like, all right, Framber at 80. And they're like, 80. And then someone's like 85. And they're like, all right, we were in on Framber. See ya.
They're like, dang it. I really want to know. I hope it comes out how close the Blue Jays really were, like what they were willing to go because of how stacked. Like, are they willing to send Cody Ponce to AAA because, with his $30 million for 3 years to AAA, like where he would have fit? Or like, is Shane Bieber more hurt than what we thought? Like, I want to know where the Pirates were too. Pirates fans, at me. Let me know. Where were you guys so close?
Kratz, they just want to talk about your stats and how dare you be so hard on the Pirates. One commenter on YouTube, I was like, they were literally just telling you like it is. Did you want them to go, yeah, they have a swell chance at this one. It's between this or Kyle Schwarber. They definitely were going to get one of these guys. They had no chance at signing him. They had a chance at Gino Suarez. I think they actually just messed that up. If they said Gino 1 year, 18 even, I think he's over there and he's not in Cincinnati right now, but they're playing a dumb game. Let's get to Hot Corner. Oh, Tiger territory. And I knew that too. It was in my head, but then I get in a roll. Cody and Kieran did a late night episode. They also recently interviewed AJ Hinch. There's a good one there. I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but they did their breaking news episode last night. We also posted it on our Foul Territory podcast feed. But if you want more insight on this signing and how it ties into the Tigers, Go give it a listen. And now let's hit Hot Corner. Red Sox fans were looking at everyone tweeting out the Red Sox signed an infielder, and they were like, who? Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Nice depth piece. He's been a really solid utility defender. He can play second. He can give you short. He can give you third. He can bounce around there. They're still looking to complete their infield. But Sox fans, AJ, are like, cool, happy with that. Where's our big power bat that they talked about in the beginning of the offseason publicly? They said, we need more pop. So they lose Bregman. They tried for him. They tried for Pete Alonso. They didn't get him. SARS, for example, said right now the models put them at about mid-tier for position players. We can show that tweet before you comment if we have it. I think he said they're 17th right now in projections for their position players. Again, we're not this show isn't just playing the numbers game, but I'm just using some context here. Do you feel like they're a bat short with their infield?
I think that's been the thing. I love their pitching. Listen, I love IKF. I think he does a lot of things really well, especially defensively. He's not bringing a ton of pop. He'll get you some knocks. It's still a base or two for you. But he's not changing the dynamic of a lineup. I like this signing for if someone fails at second or third, they can move him around. If Story gets hurt, they can play him at shortstop, things like that. But this is not a needle mover. It's great for IKF that he got a job in Boston. He'll go there and probably love playing there. But yeah, I wish they would have gone out and got a Suarez or a Bregman or someone like that. But they didn't. But they're really good at pitching. So hopefully their pitching can carry them a long way. And listen, maybe Casas comes back and goes crazy, or I don't know, Christian Campbell figures it out. I've seen video of him recently changing some stuff in his swing. I don't know. We'll see. But right now, no, I mean, IKF, congratulations, but not a needle mover for me.
They have guys that have high ground ball rates too. Kratz, Ranger Suarez, of course. Sonny Gray has a high ground ball percentage. So at the very least, get that run prevention in check. And it's not like they don't have options. They just were seeking some type of infield pop that they didn't really get.
Yeah, Scott, hold up, Scott. What? You can have all the run prevention you want. I look at the Tigers last year in the playoffs. But at some point, you got to score some dang runs. Like, I'm sorry, like, run prevent all you want, but if you don't score, it's if you can find the best of both worlds, then you're obviously great. That's like the Dodgers and the Blue Jays were great at it last year. They had great run prevention. They had dudes that could also bang. So, yeah, it's great. Run prevention. But at the end of the day, you got to have some big dudes that can hit the ball over the fence and drive in some runs.
Yeah, it's about opportunistic run scoring. When you have guys like Tarik Skubal, when you have guys like Ranger Suarez in the playoffs, has been lights out, like elite. Maybe during regular season, there's some questions of what's his elite status, but you do have to be able to pick the ball. Absolutely. And I think this is an upgrade for the Red Sox because they had some struggles. We had Alex Cora on here. He felt like they were trending the other direction. They started the season out as the worst defending team in baseball, particularly their infield. But this is what happens when you play guys in positions that they're not considerably used to. You have you just have moving pieces because they're trying to get the best lineup out there. You have to be opportunistic with your power. And I think IKF is going to get a lot of flack because Red Sox fans are like, oh, infielder. Oh, man, I hope what? That guy had 2 home runs last year. Like, who could? IKF is really good at what he does, and he's going to be remembered for negative things. But this is a guy who won a Gold Glove, and then other teams the Yankees felt like, oh, we can switch him to be a shortstop. We can switch it. His value is in that utility role, and this adds to that depth for that defense. But they've still swung and missed on that final little piece that I think would take pressure off of Roman Anthony. People say it's Contreras at first base. I'll say it's a nice signing. It's not that one that, they're right now banking on the fact that Roman Anthony will be an MVP caliber bat. And this early in his career, that is a lot of pressure. Can he do it? Absolutely, he can do it. But to make him carry this after you got rid of Devers, after you couldn't re-sign Bregman, that is a large, large task to be the guy in your second season.
Well said. Really well said. All right, let's get to our next guest. Hey, here comes Brock Stewart of the Dodgers joining us right now on FT. Brock, we really appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us. So how was a glorious offseason of celebrating for you and then resting and recovering, and now spring training is around the corner?
Yeah, it's been good. First of all, thanks for having me on, guys. But it's been good. The World Series, the back-to-back, to be part of that. What little part I was pretty cool. And the trade worked out really well for me. I got a World Series ring and some playoff money out of it. But that's, I wasn't a huge part of it, but just to be around it and experience it is awesome. And looking forward to having way more to do with the three-peat this next season for sure.
There you go. Now, have you guys gotten into the conversations like a team such as the Dodgers will do? Hey, we want you to do your thing a little bit, but now let's talk. This is what we really like about you. This is why we traded for you. And this is maybe one thing we would like to see you do differently, whether it's mechanical or pitch usage, any of that. Have you guys had that conversation, or is that more something now you kind of reset, do your own thing, and then talk in spring training because you'll have plenty of time there?
Yeah, we had meetings right when I got traded over, and I had some familiarity because I was a Dodger in the past from 16 to 19.
Oh, true.
Up and down AAA, the big leagues and all that. But I had some familiarity, so they knew my stuff. They know everybody's stuff. Everything's on True Media and everything's recorded, every pitch you throw and everything. So everybody knows everything about everybody. So the Dodgers knew what I had coming in, and they knew that I was really good against right-handed hitters, and they wanted me to pretty much continue what I was doing against righties. But they did have a couple suggestions about lefties, maybe throwing the sweeper to get ahead into the count, just get me over a little sweeper to get into a count and then go from there. Because last year in particular, I fared way better against righties than I did lefties. But no, the Dodgers had a great plan for me. It's just unfortunate that I only was able to throw 4 times for him before my shoulder flared back up. But like I said, just looking forward to helping out much, much more this 2026 season.
All right, before I ask the question, because I was going to ask you about your shoulder. When you grew up in Normal, Illinois, were you a Cubs or a White Sox fan? Because that's going to dictate how the next 10 minutes of your life goes.
AJ, I'm glad you brought this up. I was actually a White Sox fan. So
thank you.
no.
Okay,
Stop.
good. Now we can be positive.
So,
thank you. Now we can have a great conversation.
I think at that time I was 13 or 14 when you guys won it all, and pretty cool to be talking to you now, because I mean back when I was 13 or 14, you were larger than life, and that whole team was larger than life. That was really cool. And I went to Illinois State. Do you know which one of your World Series teammates went to Illinois State?
Neil Kratz.
Kotze, yeah, he's a great guy.
He is a great guy. Great guy. Great
Gross.
hair too. Good.
Gross.
Should have been a model.
AJ, before AJ asks this question, Brock, don't come on here and we don't need to lie to be friends. This can be a great interview. There's no such thing as you either had a bunch of friends and you were a Cubs fan, or you didn't have friends and you were a White Sox fan. Isn't that how it goes in Northern Illinois?
I think
He's from Central.
Just enough friends, and I was a Sox fan. I was one of so my hometown, Bloomington, Normal, Illinois, right in the middle of the state. So I would say 60% Cubs fans, 30% Cardinal fans, and then I was one of the 10% White Sox fans. And it might not even be 10%, but I was one of those small percentage of White Sox fans.
By the way, yeah, I can live with Cardinals or White Sox, so normal, you're normal. The 60% of the problem, okay? But, and by the way, Kratz is just jealous because, Brock, you had a fat head of me in your room growing up, and Kratz never had a fat head. So it's okay. It's okay.
I always have a fat head.
I don't know about the fat head.
It's always fat head. Yeah, you weren't that cool. You weren't that cool, AJ.
Oh, I have one. I had a fat head. I was the White Sox fat head guy, which is kind of funny.
No, I mean in his mind, you weren't that cool.
That's fine. That's fine.
In your mind, you were that cool.
I was also a fan of you were great, AJ, but that starting rotation, especially in the postseason, that starting rotation was silly. What they did.
Agreed. But they couldn't have done it without the catcher, Brock. Don't ever forget.
That's right. You're absolutely right. You're the game manager behind the dish.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, so let's get back to you. Now that Kratz is done glazing me. Thank you, Kratz. How's your shoulder? Because you missed the end of the year with the shoulder and you had surgery. Am I correct? You had surgery?
Yep.
So how's the rehab, and will you be ready for spring, or what's the prognosis for you going forward?
So the rehab's going well. It's it's been mostly smooth. There's some days that it's kind of, you got to knock the cobwebs off when you play catch, and especially each step up in intensity, I've had to deal with a little bit of the cobwebs, but the recovery's been really good. I'm able to play catch the next day. Everything's feeling clean, feeling great, going through certain ranges, which has not always been the case. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure when I'll be activated for the season. I think I'll have to spend a little bit of time on the injured list just to start the year. I'm not off the mound yet, so I think I'll get off the mound within the next few weeks once I get out to Arizona, get some cleats on. I think at that point, then we can, they get eyes on me and then see where I'm at and maybe think about getting off the mound within another couple weeks. But I don't think I'm getting the vibes that there's no rush with this. We want to make sure this shoulder is good to go for the dog days of summer and then leading into the fall baseball when it gets really fun. I think that's when they want me at my best, and that's when I am expecting to be at my best. So whatever it takes to get to that point, it is what it is. I've dealt with injuries before, so I'm familiar with this rehab process, and really take it day by day. So every day I go into Tread Athletics here in Charlotte, and then I go to my PT clinic down the road and just do what I have to do. Try to be better than I was the day before and try to feel better than the day before. So, yeah, I like where I'm at. There's still a little bit of a road to go, but I'm out to 150 feet throwing in the mid 80s. So I think I'm on the right path to getting where I need to be to help the 2026 Dodgers.
Can you confirm that they told you to take your time? Because we hear all the time, we see, like this guy had this, and we always just say, it feels like the Dodgers are they're playing for the postseason. And to me, it's the smartest thing. Like, why try to just burn some dude out when he's going to be elite in the postseason? So can you confirm that the Dodgers have said, slow down, take your time. The most important time of year is October.
They know that. Everybody knows that the most important time is late in the season, the playoff push, and then in the playoffs. But no, I can say with 100% honesty, they have not told me to take it easy. It's more so just the vibe I'm getting from the training staff and kind of the throwing schedule that they're sending me. But no, I honestly, they've never said, we're gonna hold you back until you're 100%. And if that's July or August, then so be it. No, they have not said that. I'm fully anticipating being activated, not too far into the season. Hopefully sometime, I really don't know, but around the beginning of May, maybe we'll see. Like I said, there's some road left to go before I get activated. So, like I said, just take it one day at a time, and should be good.
By the way, you mentioned something. You mentioned you're at Tread. You don't work with Justin Nicolino, do you, at Tread? Because if you do, I'm going to tell you to stay far, far away from him.
So I don't work directly with him, but
Okay.
Nico's always around, and he's one of a kind. He's the man. Yeah. I've got to know him a little bit this offseason, and I know he spent some time in the big leagues. So yeah, just to talk with him, he's awesome, and he's a character too. He's
ask him. Just do me a favor. Next time you see him, just say, "Hey, tell me about the time you went to Baker's Bay." Just ask him that, and then just let him go for about 2 hours on his experience when we went on vacation one time. Not vacation. We went on a guys trip to play golf together, and just let him fill you in on that. It's going to take you a bit, and it's a hilarious story, especially when we returned home. He'll tell you what happened, and you probably won't believe it.
That's great. So I'm not very confident in my ability to tell stories, but I tell you what, I don't know him super well, but that guy seems like he could tell a good story. So I'm looking forward to asking him. I'll see him tomorrow, so I'll ask him tomorrow about it.
Okay, just call him Tiger Dick. Sorry, I know. Just say, "Hey, Tiger Dick." AJ says hi, and I guarantee he'll know what you're talking about.
All right, sounds good.
All right, well, you got to tell the story about when you got traded last year, along with the cavalcade of guys. Did they get a whole bus together and ship you all to the airport at the same time when they got rid of half your team?
No, but that would have made sense. That was Dodgers aside, LA aside, the Dodgers aside, that was a really sad day because, I got to be really close with all those guys up in Minnesota, and there's so many good people in that organization and in that city and that, that whole area. Minnesota Nice is a real thing. Those people are the best. They deserve a winning team. It's kind of unfortunate to see what transpired last year, and then, the issue with the president, Derek Falvey, kind of breaking up with the Twins here recently. I don't know what it's all about. I just know that the Twins deserve a winning team. And like I said, a lot of great people up there. But that day was crazy. I mean, I think I was one of the first guys to go on that trade deadline day, and then kind of just, watching as the day went. It was shocking. It was shocking. They did a total fire sale. Pretty much everybody that was, a rental, a free agent, definitely was gone. And then even some controllable guys. Like, I get it in my case. I'm 30 at the time, 33 now, 34. Battled with some injuries my whole career. So maybe trade me, get some value back for me. But some of the controllable guys were a little head scratching, like Louis Varland going to Toronto. I mean, he was controllable for 4 or 5 more seasons and throws 100, could have been their closer. But I mean, there's reasons for everything. I don't know what's going on with ownership in the Twins or the front office or anything like that. But just a wild day for me and my Twins teammates. But then when I learned that I was going to LA, where I had some familiarity, and that I was joining quite possibly the best team ever, pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. That side of it was awesome, and I was really looking forward to getting out of there, out of Cleveland. We were on the road in Cleveland. Really looking forward to getting out to LA is what I meant to say. Only 3 or 4 times for him last year, but looking forward to helping out a lot more.
All right, there's a lot of negative around the Twins with getting rid of everybody, ownership, not sure, all that stuff. But if you look at 24, 23 actually, and 24, maybe one of the most dominant bullpens that I've seen that really didn't get to shine their light brightly in huge playoff games. What do they do? Like, part of the fact that they got rid of everybody, it almost seems like the Twins are like, yeah, sure, we'll find Brock Stewart from the injured list independent league, and we'll go and turn him around into this elite bullpen guy. Who heard of Louis Varland before? They really created this bullpen that kind of came out of nowhere. What were they doing during that time? And is it something that they can continue to do to find that massive value in bullpen guys?
Yeah, I don't really know what they did necessarily. I joined as a minor league free agent with the Twins back in the summer of 22. And right off the bat, I could tell that the Twins were very forward thinking when it comes to pitching and very analytical. And, they wanted you to lean on your strengths, and they did that really well with the pitching staff and, the pitching staff and the front office side of things. And then like the player development side of things, everybody was open and honest with everybody. And it just seemed like a well-oiled machine when I got there. And I knew we had a lot of talent in the bullpen and in the starting rotation. I mean, and on that team, honestly, if you look at the 23 to 25 rosters for the Twins, I mean, pretty good rosters. Never really put it together consistently, but I mean, last year I remember we were part of I think we won 13 in a row early in the season. So we definitely were always capable of playing winning baseball. We just never really strung it together totally. But no, like you said, there was a lot of talent in the bullpen. I really think we have a lot of talent in this Dodgers bullpen, but I'm not sure if I'll be part of a bullpen that would have had more talent than some of these Twins bullpens. And yeah, shoot, what was it last year? 5 of the 8 guys in the bullpen were traded.
All right. Well, then you have to ask the typical Dodger player question. Have you talked to Shohei, or do you have to have more than 5 appearances to have talked to Shohei? And do you have any good Shohei stories?
Oh man, stories. I don't know. I just, it's really intriguing to watch him go about his business every day, and inspiring, honestly, because I mean, I am a bullpen middle reliever, and I'll maybe pitch, every other game, every third game. So, but I'm training, and my training takes, pretty much all day. Like, I have maybe an hour and a half of downtime before the game starts where I just chill. But to see him train for both hitting and pitching is incredible. And he has his routine down to like the minute, and he knows what he has to do. And like I said, it's really inspiring. I haven't spent as much time as I want to around him, and I'm looking forward to this spring and then this season. But so I don't have any crazy stories. I just know he's a super good dude. And when I came off the mound after my first outing, when I joined the team, he just looked at me and go, "Oh, nasty." I said, "Yeah, let's go, man." So it's cool. It's just cool to see that he's a great person, along with other guys, Freddie, Mookie, all those guys, that have all the money in the world. A lot of people might think that they're just going to cash it in and show up. And yeah, I guess this is what I do. and just take home a paycheck and just, get ready for the game and go play. But no, they're some of the first guys there. They're in the weight room all the time. They like I said about Shohei, and it's the same with Freddie and Mookie and all those guys. Like they get after it, which is really inspiring, because they could easily, just kind of cash it in and take it easy and know that they're going to play every day and know that they're going to have a paycheck coming in every other Friday. But no, some of those guys are the hardest workers on the team, which is really, really cool to see. And Shohei's the man. I have nothing but good things to say about Shohei.
Brock, what about
Nice.
your view? Oh, AJ, you got it or no?
Yeah. Sorry, Scott. Jeez, you want to talk so much. Jeez, you missed
didn't
one
say
day of
next.
work, and now you just want
Brock.
to talk. Jeez.
We have
Brock,
a little
what
group
about-
chat, so we don't talk over each other too much. And AJ didn't say next, so
Oh,
it's
you guys-
okay.
you guys
It's
are
okay.
texting? You got a
Yeah.
group chat as this
All right.
is going on.
Sorry.
we do it. We
Tiger
do it
Dick
every day on the show, but I guess
Tiger Dick was
nothing
texting
matters
me.
right
Sorry,
now
Scott.
since we've got a
You
White
guys
Sox
probably
fan.
talk
So
shit. You talk shit behind guys' backs as you're talking.
Not at all.
Is that all
Nope.
right?
we
Not at all.
crack jokes. I mean, there's
I
not
do
a lot-
not.
No, I will
There's
say
been times where you're sitting next to a guest, and when I come to spring training starting like next week,
mm,
you'll see that I'm like, hey, just reminder, guys, people can see my chat, so just careful what you write, okay? Just be
Keep it
careful
clean.
what you
Take
write.
it easy.
If
Yeah.
you did
But anyways, I was
steroids,
texting Tiger Dick. Sorry, I apologize.
If
Telling
you-
him to make sure he gives you some shit tomorrow.
if you do
So-
steroids, I will put it in the thread so that you see it when you're sitting next to AJ. So spring training's coming up, and any ex-PED guys, I'm just going to be like, AJ, ask him about doing steroids.
stop it.
It's not true.
Stop it.
Not-
Good
No,
idea.
but it'll be like
See how it goes for you guys. See how it goes for you guys in the whole show.
Yeah, not true. Not true.
No,
not
no.
good. Anyways, now on to Yamamoto. I think Yamamoto might have been on something which is called adrenaline this postseason, because the Dodgers are super careful with everybody, and Yamamoto's like, "Oh, I threw Game 6. Don't worry, guys. I'll come in and shove in Game 7 the next day too." How impressive was that? Because you mentioned, you're a middle reliever and you might pitch every other day, but this guy started and then closed it out the next day.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to when I was a starter, coming through the minor leagues. I'm a bullpen guy now. We're all failed starters. But when I was a starter, I just know how I felt after throwing 6-7 innings, and the next day, especially. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unprecedented. I don't know if it'll ever happen again. What he did, and not just what did he throw? 8 innings, Game 6, and then coming back for Game 7. It'd be different if he just went out for Game 7 for like a hitter to finish an inning. But no, he pitched, what was it, 2 1/3 or 2 2/3 to finish that Game 7. Truly incredible. Another guy that has all the money in the world, but works so hard. I mean, you should see his mobility routine. And I think there's been viral clips of him doing his mobility stuff where he's doing like headstands and handstands and back bends. He can contort his body like I'll never be able to. But no, he's a really hard worker, and what he did, I mean, it should be national news. I say it all the time, but like Shohei's 3-homer game, the 10 punchies, and then Yamamoto, what he did. I mean, this should be, even if you don't like baseball, if you just, barely follow sports, like this should be front page headline news, what those guys did for us. Truly incredible.
Where were you during that run? A lot of people know about where Shohei was during the World Series run. He was on the field. Guys that are injured, guys that are not active, where were you, and how did you feel like the Dodgers, was there a give and take in all of that?
So I was with the team until the CS, and then I came home to Charlotte after the CS, and everybody was super cool with it. I mean, there's some mental warfare on my side. I just didn't. The last thing I wanted to be for the team was in the way. I only pitched 4 times for them in August, and then tried to come back at the end of the season. Didn't work out. Ended up getting surgery. So I was on the shelf, and I, barely helped the team. So the last thing I wanted to do was be in the way. And for PT, when the team was on the road in the Phillies series and then the Brewers series, I was going to a PT clinic in Beverly Hills. So that was like a kind of an hour-long drive from where I was. So just because I wasn't traveling with the team, and just because I had to drive about an hour to PT, and I had kids that we wanted to get back to Charlotte and get into they call it school, but it's basically daycare. It's called weekday school. But I was just open and honest with the Dodgers, and they kind of let me do whatever I wanted to do. So they had no issues with me heading home, and it was kind of weird just watching the team. But like I said, I was barely part of it. But I was big old cheerleader from my couch at home. But to be there with the team for the home games and the playoffs this past season was super cool. And it's I really want to be part of a three-peat, and I really want to have a lot more to do with it. And that's when I can really enjoy the celebrations, enjoy the parade and all that. So no, I'm working each and every day to feel what those guys felt after the last out of this Game 7 was made. I think that's what everybody dreams of. So in 2026, really looking forward to being a part of it. And, everybody knows we got a great team and could go for the three-peat. So that's where my mind is going to be each and every day. I'm going to try to go to work and be better than I was the day before and help out the team and be able to be around the celebrations and, feel like, you really earned it. So I'm really looking forward to that.
The reason I asked that was because I was pretty much in the same situation. I got fired halfway through the year from the Royals. I was on the team. Salvador Perez played all the time. So even if I was on the team, I probably wasn't going to do a whole lot anyway. And I watched this team. I watched the Royals win against the Mets from my couch. The rest of my family had watched pretty much the whole postseason, and they all went to bed in I think it was Game 5 they beat the Mets, or Game 6. I forget exactly what it was. So when they won, or even that whole Game 7, how stressful and how much elation did you have when they won? Did you pop your own bottle of champagne?
No popping champagne. I think we did have some wine that night, though, Game 7 night, me and my wife. But yeah, I just watched from my couch. I actually, Game 7, as the game got late into the Game 7, I was looking at the MLB app, like the Game Day app, and it's actually like a minute ahead of the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not proud of myself for doing that, but it made it easier once whatever transpired on TV, I already knew was going to happen. So I kind of made it easier that way. So I saw, Alejandro Kirk grounds into double play to end the game, and I just shot up off the couch, threw my hands in the air, started jumping around, and then sure enough, like 30 seconds later, it happens on TV. I just had a big embrace with my wife and maybe got a little emotional. I wasn't a part of it, but just to play a small part of it, and I wasn't part of the postseason, but just to play a small part of the regular season and just to be around the team and just to see how they work every day and how special of a group it was really, really cool. But that game, I think it was Game 3 that went into 15, 16, 17 innings, whatever it was. I was on the couch, and then I was like, I got to go lay down. So I went to my bed, and I had my phone, and I was watching YouTube TV. So I was watching the game on my phone in bed, and, the 12th inning or whatever rolls around, and I fall asleep. I fall asleep with my phone on my chest, still playing, still loud from the volume of the broadcast. And I wake up like 2 hours later, and I pull up my phone, and the game literally just ended. I'm seeing like the on-field celebration from Freddie's homer. Just wild. I mean, I'm on East Coast in Charlotte, so 3 hours ahead of that. And I mean, that game went to after midnight on the West Coast. So it was like 3:30 in the morning when I happened to wake up and look at my phone and saw him celebrating. Super cool. And then, of course, it took me 2 hours to get back to sleep. So that next day was rough. But no, super, super cool to be a cheerleader and to see those guys have that success, because like I said, great group of guys. They work so hard. But yeah, to be a part of a playoff push and hopefully a playoff run this season coming up will be awesome.
Oh yeah, okay. Hey Brock, did you get any outs during the regular season? I just want to know. Did you get any outs?
I got some big outs with the Twins,
okay.
And then I got.
No, I'm talking about for the Dodgers. Did you make any outs Did you get any outs for the Dodgers?
I got.
Then you know what?
12.
You deserve it because you helped them get there. I don't care what anyone says. You helped them get there. If you got one out, hell, if you made one appearance and faced a batter, you saved somebody from facing that batter, so you deserve it. So anyone that says you don't deserve it, screw them. They're wrong, because if you appeared on the field and did anything, it showed up one day, talked to somebody, you deserve it. So hold your head up high. If anyone says, "Oh, you didn't pitch in the playoffs," screw them, because that's not true. You helped people get there, and you were hurt, which is not your fault. So screw them. And then the second thing I want to know is, Imagine you got to fall asleep, okay, after that game that ended at like 3 a.m. Now imagine if you're me and you have to do a post-game show at 3 a.m. after that game's end because your bosses are mean and make you stay up and then have to go on the air. So happy you got your sleepy time in, but some of us had to stay up, watch the whole game, and then discuss it.
That's what coffee's for, right? I mean, you're a grinder, AJ. You're a grinder. You're a catcher. You know, you're a backstop. You guys are grinders.
Not a grinder.
So it's... No, it's
exactly.
Yeah.
Why am I? First of all, Brock, what do you consider a grinder? Because Kratz says, "Oh, you only spent 6 years in the minor leagues. You're not a grinder." How many years do I have to spend?
It's different for everybody. I consider
94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. Oh, actually 7 years if we're going to get technical.
I think it's different for everybody. Personally, I think you can tell if a guy's a grinder simply by watching him for like 20, 30 minutes about how he approaches each day and how he goes about his day. That's my honest opinion. So
not a grinder.
The fact that you push through and were able to do that post-game show at 4 a.m., man, keep it up. You're working hard. You're getting after it.
I like you. You're going to be a regular on the show now. Thank you. We just signed you to a contract. Thank you.
Perfect.
Well, this worked out great. Brock, hope you enjoyed it. I didn't even realize the White Sox connection, so you made AJ's day. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you out in spring training.
Awesome. See you guys soon. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you. This was great. That's Brock Stewart. Be right back. $649 minor league games for AJ. Is that true? Is that how many you played? That's a lot,
bro. I just gave you the name. I just gave you the numbers.
Dude's a grinder.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, bro.
Former grinder. Sorry, not current. former. Regular season win total. Yes. BetMGM futures. White Sox. Leading right to it.
Fellas. Thanks, guys.
All right. So 66.5.
Over. If you can hear me, I'm saying over.
I can hear you.
I'm going over. I think they win 72 to 75 games this year.
Okay.
I think they're around 90 losses. Now, can everything break right and they get a little bit better? Yes, but I think they're around a 70 win. I think this is way low, actually. Like the one yesterday was way high. This one is way low.
Do they have enough pitching? Do they have enough pitching to make it through 162 games and win 70? Yeah?
Yeah, I think they do. They're going to be better. I think they'll be better than they were last year. And last year they won how many games? 61? 61-ish?
Yeah,
right?
They were. Yeah, they still had 100. They had 101 losses, I think. I was honestly going to take the under, and I'm not going to, go by anything intelligent, but I just think that where are they going to continue to get their innings from? That's my biggest concern. Are some of these position player prospects? Yeah, I think I really like them. I like Teal behind the dish and what him and Caro, that combination, what that gives them. The position player core I really like. I don't really like. I like. What is this rotation and bullpen truly going to look like? And are the lack of big additions going to come back and hurt them in July, where they could start a big slide of 9-10 wins a month, which would drop them below this 66 number.
Going under.
You guys are haters. Justin and all the White Sox fans, I just want you guys to know that these two are haters.
You're such a politician. It's not even your city.
Under.
You're a Rays fan.
Just a little bit. And hey, the AL Central has a strong Tigers team, a solid Cleveland team that can pitch. Twins, I don't think they're going to be terrible, but they certainly didn't do much, and they might sell again, fire sale at the trade deadline.
And the
Royals are solid. I think they'll have
Yeah.
a solid year.
I just think the White
usually
Sox
the high guy in the Royals.
naturally have to get a little better than what they were. Another year for
Yeah.
Shane Smith, another year for Davis Martin, right? Another year for their bullpen guys. They added Sir Anthony Dominguez. Anthony Kay's coming over. Another year for their position players, right? Vargas, Teal, Kiro, Mydroth, Colson Montgomery. Murakami's there. If he hits anywhere close to what he thinks, if he hits 30 homers, that's a huge bat. They got rid of the question that was Luis Robert. Is he going to be able to play? Is he going to get traded? I just think that, natural progression. I think they had 59 wins last year. I think they can get 10 more. I think 60. If this number was 69 and a half or 70, it'd be a much harder decision.
Beat you to it, Kratz. Just beat it by like this much. You were like a hair behind me. But I agree. I think they're going to improve wins wise, but they improved by 5 wins. They're at 64 wins. 6 wins, 65 wins, 7 wins, 66 wins, still the under. So I'm on a slight under with you on that, AJ. I could see them winning low to mid 60s.
Haters gonna, what's that Taylor Swift song? Haters gonna hate.
I like going further back. Play's gonna play, haters gonna hate. You can say it with a lot more melody if you go further back. Look that up, kids. AJ, at some point in like 30 minutes, you're going to leave us, and then you're not going to be on with us tomorrow. So would you like to deliver a famous Super Bowl pick?
Oh, All right. So I put this together, and I was looking on BetMGM. So I'm going to pull it back up because I forgot I was supposed to. My bad, producer lady. I forgot to throw this in there. But my bet slip was, but I couldn't find it. So I got to plus 140, and now it went away. It was Jackson Smith and Jigba to score a touchdown. That's a yes. Seahawks to win. Duh. If you haven't seen my gear and everything. Seahawks to win. That gets me to plus 140. And I'm not even sure who's singing the anthem, but I'm assuming the number is 2 minutes. Always bet over on the anthem because all these singers love to taste themselves and feel themselves. So they add a couple minutes, a couple seconds to it. So whatever, add that one to it. And I don't know what the number is, but throw those things down and you're going to win.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to keep that collection. We'll keep that in mind.
Who was singing the national anthem?
Charlie Puth.
Who is that?
He's a famous pop singer.
I was going to say, if he's country, the country singers, they go fast. They're like, Jose, can you see? And then
but even
like,
Luke Bryan a couple years ago, he sang and he went over.
But he added some to it. He added to it. So
what I tell you, they start digging themselves. They start going, I'm tasting nice because I'm singing the anthem at the Super Bowl. So I'm going to add, Whitney Houston's was great, but it was like 7 minutes long.
On the topic of tasting yourself, somebody won a tournament in the past week and actually didn't say anything, which is insane. I had to find this and get tipped off. Erik Kratz won an online poker tournament and didn't tell anyone. What are you, nuts? I guess he did post about it on Twitter. Yes, BetMGM Poker posting the former MLB pro, Erik Kratz, is a champion. It was the $250K PPO event, $10,693, and a trophy for Bruce Banner. There he is. That's him in action. That's what you're playing against, folks, when you're online and you see Bruce Banner. You can't run. You can throw emojis at him in the app. I've done that before, but good for you. So now you have 2 of those clear trophies?
Not yet. I haven't got. That's my old trophy. So I have another one. I have another one coming. And this was my first victory of 2026. I had 3 victories in 24, and then this one victory. BetMGM does a great job. I mean, they set it up. It's very simple. You can do it on your laptop. You can do it on your phone. And they set up some tournaments that right now they got the Gridiron Classic going on. So you win. If you win the tournament, you get a customized jersey. If I win, I think it's tonight or tomorrow night. Tonight, I'm going to get mine that says AJ, not a grinder. So that's what my jersey will say.
I'm rooting for you. That's a great dedication right there. All right, let's tell the people how they
600 and how many games was it? 694 games in the minor leagues?
You were in the big leagues at 21. You were a second rounder. You were a
Third.
bonus
I was
baby.
a third rounder, and I was in the big leagues, but then I was also back in AAA the next
Not a
year,
grinder.
and then I was back in AA the year after that.
Not a grinder. You were making 60% of what you made the year before. So you were in the bushes.
Yeah, which back then was like $100,000 was the minimum. So I was making nothing. Okay, so let's also not forget that we're talking about like 1998 here.
He was making $23,000, and he was like the Taj Mahal compared to everybody else.
And I was the richest dude in the world back then.
Yeah.
Thought I was the richest guy in the world.
He goes to restaurants sometimes for dinner.
Mm-hmm. I told y'all the story, man, when I was in AAA. I told y'all the story when I was in AAA one year, and I ain't gonna say the guy's name, but he had been around for a while. And we saw him out to eat, a bunch of us, and we were like at like a Cracker Barrel or Applebee's, the standard AAA food places. And we're like, man, you've been in the minor leagues a long time. How do you do this? He goes, watch. And he was finished with his meal, and he pulled out a hair, and he stuck it in his food, and he called the waitress over and goes, I found a hair in my food. And he had already eaten it and finished it. And so like, oh, we're so sorry. We'll comp your meal. Free meal. He goes, that's how you survive in AAA, kids.
Wow. There's like movies about that. I mean, that's a catch me if you can kind of guy. A little more simple with his strategy than the catch me if you can guy, but a little scam artist. But you do what you got to do to get by. And if it helps you make it, it helps you make it. Hey, Richie Schaefer was on, and he was a much more recent prospect who was getting fed garbage after they signed him to a whole bunch of money.
Tortillas and cheese.
It's ridiculous.
No, we didn't get no cheese. We were lucky if we got PB&J and a loaf of bread for the whole team. That was what that was our spread, and maybe a piece of fruit if you were really lucky. The club, if those $5 a day or whatever it was you paid to the clubhouse guy, if he was feeling frisky, you might actually get something hot like some Chef Boyardee.
The first year I was. Go ahead.
Let's go. I want to go. Sorry, we'll take the story later.
Woo,
yeah,
woo,
don't say anything. I want to go to. Let me just tell everybody about Super Bowl, and then we're going to go to breaking news. There's Boost Pack, big game Boost Pack. We're going to talk more about it tomorrow. 3 ways to spike your odds. There's also some good pregame and halftime markets only on BetMGM, the app, and at BetMGM.com. Gambling problem or concern? There's help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We have breaking news, people. Tarik Skubal is going to make $32 million this year. He went to battle against his team, the Tigers, who said he was only worth $19 million, which was less than the record for an arbitration-eligible pitcher. That record was 11 years ago. David Price, 19.75 mil. So he said, I'm worth 32. They said, nah, you're 19. And the arbitration panel said, you guys are crazy. Skubal wins. So he is getting $32 million. The Tigers just signed Framber Valdez. So I don't know how much the deferrals are, but you put those two together, there's going to be $70 million at the top of the rotation. This is the final season for Skubal before he hits free agency. Almost everybody looked at this and said, what am I missing? How can they win? As in MLB and the Tigers on this one. Jim Bowden, who is a former front office exec, he's super pro cap, stuff like that. But he even said on our show and in other places, like, I don't understand how this could even be a case. And clearly the arbitration panel agreed. When you are a 5+ arbitration guy, that is when you can start to make comps to free agency. Skubal's got awards. He's got it all. This was going to be a tough one, even if he didn't actually bring the 2 Cy Young awards with him. So, AJ, your thoughts on the dub?
Or did he bring those? Or did he?
We'll ask him in spring training.
Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Just saying he might have. But I'm just going to tell you this right now. I'm pumped. You heard me yell. I love this. This is freaking awesome. Yes. Go Tarik Skubal. You deserve it. And all the people out there saying, listen, I understand markets for free agency with Framber and arbitration is different, but because Skubal is a 5+ player, he can use free agency as a point in his case. And they did that. I guarantee you Scott Boras said, we are using Scherzer, DeGrom, Verlander, all these guys that are making all this money. And they would have used Framber on his own team if they had known. And Framber is not, for all the people on Twitter, I keep saying this. Framber is not represented by Scott Boras. He's an Octagon client, right? So Scott Boras did not know this. But if he had known this, they would have used this too, because it would have shown two things. One, it's his own team. And two, they just paid a starting pitcher who many people say is not as good as Tarik Skubal, less than what Skubal is asking for. So way to go, Tarik Skubal. Super excited about this. Good for you. And you know what, Tiger fans? You should be excited too, because this means they ain't trading them, and they're going for it this year. So good on you, Tigers.
They weren't trading him either way.
I know, but now
lost the case. But
now.
Well, now the Framber news, I think, helps add to all of this. And I mean, now they're not trading him, period. The chances of them not being in the mix at the trade deadline and then having to trade him are very low. And then Kratz, the chances of them being in the mix and then trading him would be insane. You don't do that. So Skubal is going to play out the year with the Tigers. He's going to make $32 million. If you took that price number and you put inflation on it, then it's about $27 million. Still less than the 32, or I guess still 32 is above that, but it's above the midpoint, I should say. Still more than the midpoint. The midpoint is what you're arguing. $25.5 million. Are you worth more than that? And just by inflation alone, let alone comping Skubal and his recent accomplishments to where Price was at that moment, means it's a really tough case. He comps himself against other pitchers that are out there that have bigger salaries than him. I mean, Framber came after that, but it would have been another to add to the mix among many other pitchers where he could be like, oh, we're doing free agent comps. Better than him, better than him, better than him. We're good. So I'm sure we'll get much more on what happened inside the room. But
no, you won't, because they don't talk about it.
No, we'll get some info. Yes, they do. You don't think they'll say
Not
anything?
really. A lot of guys don't talk about it.
Corbin Burns did with us, remember?
Talk about it.
Corbin Burns told us about how they blamed the whole thing on him making 2 bad starts out of $1 billion.
He's one of the few that's ever talked about it. Most guys don't talk about it.
Okay. Largest salary ever in the arbitration system, $32 million. It's only $1 million more than what Juan Soto got for position player that's in that arbitration period. So the pitcher now, 3 years later, beats Soto. It's still just crazy to look back. And I know this is all funny money for most people in life, but this is just how the game works. And again, if it's not going to him, it's going to the team. The record before this was 19?
19.75.
Yeah. So
in
good for him.
2015. And I only have 2 points. The first one, man, he could still be traded and would still be of value if he was traded. I'm not saying he's getting traded. I'm saying at $32 million, there are very few teams that'll be like, he's a little too high priced. The teams that want to win. And the other thing that I'm looking forward to, and I know this is very much like, hey, let's enjoy this one thing. Let's enjoy this. What's his free agency going to look like? I mean, we get to do it, and it's going to be marred by the whole CBA discussion. Maybe it would speed it up because somebody's going to want to sign him long-term before the CBA, before the owners lock the players out. But, man, what is it going to look like? It's starting with a 4. So if you don't have a 4 in front of your 2 commas that you're going to offer him, don't come to the table. He's going to break the record. It's going to be awesome.
And he deserves every penny. Dude is must watch, and he's a dog. All right, let's get to our next guest joining us on FT. Here comes JP Sears of the Padres joining us right now on FT. JP, great to have you on the show. We really appreciate the time. How's the offseason for you?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, everything's been great. Just been down here in Charleston, South Carolina, working out with some guys here that live here as well, and getting geared up to go out west here soon.
Question for you, just because it's the hot topic. I mean, you just came on when this happened. I'm sure you heard us chatting about it. Did you follow this Tarik Skubal arbitration case at all? I know for you, I think, yeah, you guys settled, you and the Padres, before, so you didn't have to deal with an arbitration case. But just for all the players out there, Skubal, I'm sure, was getting texts and people were just following it almost like it's a sporting event in the off season because it was such a discrepancy. So did you get to take a look at what happened there?
Yeah, I actually found out the news from you guys from like hopping on right here. Obviously with it being so recent, but yeah, going through the process a little bit myself for the first time this year, obviously piqued my interest a little bit more. And so definitely followed it some. And everybody was kind of excited to hear the news on one side or the other. So yeah, I'm super happy for him. Obviously, he's very well deserving. He's been a treat to watch from afar as a left-handed pitcher.
How did that process go for you? Because people, yes, we have baseball fans that listen, but it's hard. Like Skubal's in his third arbitration case. He's a Cy Young Award winner. You said you're first, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. First time.
And kind of explain a little bit. Did you feel like, okay, I moved over to the Padres. Had I stayed with Sacramento, had I stayed with the A's, it would have been a little different. They know me. Did you feel like they pressured you to sign the contract, or did you feel like everything was above board and you were happy with it?
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy with the whole process. The Padres handled it really well. I feel like my agent handled it really well. And, I was just going through it, trying to learn as much as I could during the process of it. Obviously, as a player, you strive to get to the big leagues, and then as you kind of slowly get more and more years, you get closer to it, and start to learn a little bit more about the process. And so for me, it was really educating, just getting to know it, getting to learn the details of it all, and obviously ask my agent a million questions about it. But just overall, yeah, I was happy with the process of it, and and happy how it turned out.
JP, when you signed that deal, when they made the offer, was your agent? And I don't know who your agent is, so excuse me, but was your agent saying, "Hey, man, I really think this is a good number for you, so like let's do this," because you don't really want to go through arbitration, like you don't want to go through the process.
Yeah.
This is a good number. And listen, 2.75,
Yeah, for sure.
that's a nice number.
Yeah, I think that it's obviously really humbling just getting paid that to play baseball in general. And as a player, you're competitive, and you obviously want to be. You want to get what you're worth, but also I want to make my value more than that this year. And our conversations were just about me wanting to get what I felt like I was happy and what I should earn, and I feel like that's what I got.
That trade, when you got thrown, when they threw Mason Miller into the JP Sears trade, did you feel good because I mean, Mason pitches he pitches an inning. Like, you're a starting pitcher. Like, you are the marquee part of that trade. Did you see it coming? I've asked this to so many guys. You're a controllable player. It's a young team in Sacramento, and it's like, well, why would they trade both of us? Like, we're both good. We're both part of this team that they're building.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so many emotions when you get traded. Obviously, it was fun to get traded with someone like that caliber. Obviously, Mason's one of my great friends too. Like, we've become really close over the last couple of years. So, getting to move over there with him was something that made me, and I'm sure him, feel a little bit more comfortable. Just because, this is his, I guess, third time getting traded, but second time in the big leagues. I feel like so. Those days can be kind of crazy. It's a lot of mixed emotions of. You're around a lot of the same guys for 2 or 3 years and you become close to them. So it's tough to leave, but also there's so much ahead in baseball. And, as you guys know, it's a long career and, it's your own career. So being on a team like the Padres is going to be a blessing. I'm super excited to compete with these guys and to learn more about them. We just had a camp last week. Joe had us out for a week-long camp out in San Diego, so that it really was big about like getting to know everybody more. Even though I got some time there last year, just makes spring training not feel quite as fresh.
JP, when you were talking about this trade, but what I want to know is you went from Sacramento, it's a AAA ballpark, right, to San Diego, which is unbelievable ballpark, 40,000 every game, screaming, yelling. You guys could be playing the Mets and they're yelling "Beat LA," right? Like, it's just an unbelievable atmosphere every game, right? What was that like? Because you went from Oakland, where they didn't draw anybody, then you went to Sacramento, which is a minor league ballpark, to San Diego, which is one of the great ballparks in the league.
Right. Yeah, it was the first time I went there in 2023. I was wowed by it from the beginning of, the support that the fans have, and just like obviously the city and the atmosphere of the stadium, and how just how much it comes to life every night. So yeah, that was a big exciting part about the trade, was knowing that I would get to play in front of those fans, and got to go out to Fan Fest this past week and meet some of the people. And yeah, it's definitely gives you a little bit more of a boost and energy having a lot of fans in there yelling, and obviously they do a great job in San Diego too of just like pulling for the guys, like being really positive. It seems like that they're really supportive fan base. So I'm excited about that part of this year for sure.
One of the things you kind of glazed over, you said Joe ran a camp. You mean Joe Musgrove?
Musgrove, yeah. Like, I mean, he wasn't the one, obviously, like, running the whole thing, but Joe put it on. Joe, took us out, a lot of guys out to dinner some nights. He set up some things. And, just, I think you guys know in baseball, there's just so much going on in the first couple of weeks of spring training. So getting that like comfortability of each other and starting to grow that bond of, becoming good teammates is really big, and, developing a winning atmosphere.
Who all was out there? And what are kind of activities? Did you guys do balloon tosses, and did you guys go to the park together? And
some stuff close to that. There were some videos on Instagram of us at the beach one day. Yeah, Joe. He set up some dinner some night. We went on a boat one night. Wednesday, he does a lot of working out. He goes to the beach. Obviously, living in San Diego, you're able to go out to the beach all the time. So we did a little bit of like a dynamic cardio workout there, and did some competitive stuff out on the beach. That was fun. And and then obviously we went and did some community relations things. We're able to go visit some animal shelters and go visit some elderly homes, and went to the Air Force Base and the Naval Base and all that. So just a little bit of mix of everything. I feel like it just kind of brings out, different sides of all the players, and you're able to become a closer teammates because of that.
JP, did he make you guys all go to his coffee shop, his parents' coffee shop?
No, I've heard about it though, and I know Joe's big on coffee. He's got his little setup in the clubhouse, and so no, I didn't go there, but I'll obviously be checking that out very early in the season.
And then the other thing is like Joe's a San Diego native. He couldn't get you guys to go SEAL training. He couldn't get you guys to run the obstacle course out on Coronado, or what?
I don't know if he could have convinced anybody to do that. They had, I mean, I don't know about y'all. I mean, I don't really want to do any of that stuff. I go out there and I watch you've seen videos of some of those guys, and it's unreal. But Joe's been a great leader so far, and it's been great to get to know him, and obviously a lot of the other guys that have been there for a little bit.
JP, come on. You wanted to make a sugar cookie, because they'll take you out there and they'll let you run out there in the boats and then run in and make the sugar cookie in the sand, and then they make you run out. Trust me, I've seen it, and I've been offered it, and I've said no. I've been out there a few times, but I've never actually done it. And no, I'm not climbing the obstacle course, because there's a good chance I'll fall and hurt something. So no.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit crazy to where I would probably have a hard time saying no, just because it's a unique opportunity, and I'd want to try and see what everybody around me's got and see if I can last longer than some guys around me. But at the end of the day, I think that there's nothing compared to what those guys do. We all know that. And we actually got to hear some of them speak. They came and spoke to us too. That was another thing that they set up. And so just hearing the different perspective of those guys, and how our jobs relate in so many different ways.
You get out there and be competitive against your other starting pitchers, you at least wouldn't come in last behind Randy Vasquez. You have to beat Randy. That would be the biggest thing.
Randy and I knew each other with the Yankees, and we've been good friends. Randy's the best. Yeah, I think that would definitely be one. I can't let Randy beat me, but or Nick or any of those guys. Michael King and I are good friends too, so it would be a very competitive group for sure.
Oh, I forgot that Kinger and you played with the Yankees.
Yeah.
That's my bad. I forgot that part.
Yeah, my last video of Kratz was you when you caught Davey in the playoff game. Yeah,
that was awesome. That was another one of your guys. Yeah, you guys were all the studs coming up through the Yankees.
Yeah. So Kinger's the man.
Let's talk about Sacramento. Obviously, things came out that Luis Severino said. You can look at his numbers. How much did that come into maybe more of your psyche than actually physically the field affecting pitchers? And how bad was it early? And were they able to get it a little bit better? Obviously, you left before the end of the season, because this isn't like, to me, I love Luis Severino as a teammate, as a man, and he's a competitor. And for him to come out and say it some people got on him because, oh, you're soft, you're not doing good, you're not like, this is real. And I think the show shows that like players can have real opinions of playing in a AAA ballpark. So what was your interaction with that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Sevy was the leader of our staff there last year, and seeing those struggles is hard to watch. Just seeing the difference in the games at home and away, and it's kind of hard to have really too much of an excuse in my eyes, and not a knock on Sevy, because it really is a big difference from maybe where he had pitched the last couple years and last 6-7 years in the big league. So like, I can definitely see a big difference in some of those aspects, but for me, it's just. I get out there, man. It's just hard to really ever get past the fact that like what my job is. It doesn't really matter where I'm at. It doesn't really matter the team you're facing or the conditions or really the fan base or the stadium or any of the outside things. It's like, if I got beat that day, it was my fault, and if I won that day, it was because I did my job. So it's just hard to really in my eyes making an excuse because I couldn't really look at like that when I was in the moment, because it's then before you know it, it's well past gone and it's way worse than it could have been. So I think a big part of that is just a mentality. And but yeah, it was definitely an adjustment for Sevy, and I think that you see with the A's and like how they handled the last 2 months, 6 weeks of the season, their pitching staff did a really good job. So you can see you'll be able to see probably a big difference in last year and this year, I'd imagine.
JP, you mentioned King and a bunch of guys that you have played with before, but Miguel Andujar just signed over there too. Is it like everyone has to follow you wherever you go? These guys have to go and follow you?
I don't know. I don't know if follow me or more so King. I don't know. But yeah. Miggy is the man. He was the nicest guy to me when I first made it to the big leagues with the Yankees, and then it was great to see him come and play with him the last 2 years with the A's. And Miggy's such a great guy. He's a great personality. He works hard, and he's a great teammate. So being able to have him around again, and he'll fit in so well with the group of guys that they have, the position players have there, and just the group in general. And so yeah, anytime you can get good people, I think that's a big part of, you guys know how baseball is like getting a great player is awesome, but also getting great people as well is a big part of being good.
All right, so you've had Boone, you've had Kotze, you've had Schilt, and now you get a freaking relief pitcher as your manager. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
How different do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. Craig's been, I got to meet him last year towards the end of the season when we were in Chicago for the wild card, and every single person that's spoken about him or had any type of relations with him says that he's just, he's a head down, nose, grinder guy, and someone that you just don't want to let down, and that just handles everything he does so gracefully. So it's been great to get to know him a little bit, and obviously I'll get to know him a lot more the next couple weeks. But yeah, and then obviously having the relation of just being a pitcher, and that's one of the first things he said to us this past week when we saw him was, I think that it'll be fun to get to have a little bit more to relate to, and just be able to know kind of what some guys are going through.
All right, last one from me. What are your personal goals? Because obviously you guys talk. You went to you had coffee with Joe, and you guys had some nice, patty cake, everything, team bonding. What are your goals? Because it's a team game played by individuals. So what do you want to see out of yourself for this year?
Yeah, it's hard to always, goals are such a finicky thing, because you want to have such high goals. And so like, yeah, every year I try and really focus on the things that I can control, right? Number one is just, outside of competing, is just having a great attitude and being a good teammate and making myself available for the team every day, just being healthy, doing my job. And so that's like a big part of just the outside things that I feel like I can control. It's just my attitude every day in that. And then, being a starter in the big leagues, you want to be able to throw a lot of innings. So I think, throwing at least 180, 190 innings this year would be awesome. And, and pitch into a good ERA. I think that it's just going out there. And I think that if you, at the end of the day, you have a quality start every time and your team wins, and you do your job. So, just racking up the wins as well. And I think just in general, I really try and focus on week to week and month to month, and just have those smaller goals than like such a lofty full goal of the whole season, just because, I'm out there every 5 days, and Hopefully, most of them are better than not, but like there's going to be bumps in the road, and you can't really worry too much about what's happened at the end, and just focus on day to day. But yeah, just there's just having good quality innings, being available, pitching every 5 days are big goals of mine.
All right, JP. You weren't there very long, but Yu Darvish, is he retiring? Was he at Joe Musgrove's fantasy camp you guys have? Because he's saying some
Oh
people
yeah,
are
he
saying
was
he's
there.
retiring. Is he retiring? Because some people say he's retiring,
oh,
some people say he's not retiring. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like, what is happening with Yu Darvish?
And that's a tough question to answer. I really don't know. I know that he's working hard to get healthy right now, and I did see him and got to speak to him. But yeah, obviously that's a good question to ask you.
All right, last thing. What's the thing that you miss the most about the offseason? Something that you're like, man, I love doing that in the offseason now. Season's right around the corner here. You got to give that up.
I would say I get to go hunting a good bit with my dad and brother. That's something that, obviously takes a lot of time and is a lot of fun, and you can really only do in, colder months, and obviously you don't get to do it at all during the baseball season. But, my hobbies are, hunting and playing golf. So obviously you're able to get golf in some during the season and spring training, but just family time of being able to, hang out with my parents and my brother and some of my friends around here. And a lot of times we'll, go hunting together. And so those are one of the big things we do in the off season.
Well,
You can hunt. You can hunt during the season. Call Klesko.
Yeah.
He'll take you.
Chipper,
Klesko,
yeah,
I've done
Chipper
it.
used to do it. I heard the old story of Chipper like hunting before the World Series, something like that. And I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I think I'm going to be, I'll kind of focus on one thing at a time. But yeah, maybe in the future.
When I was with the White Sox, we used to go hunting with Tomey and Burley and Jermaine Dye. We used to go. So it is possible to do it. You just have to pick the right time.
Yeah. Right. And I don't know if there's a lot of hunting in San Diego, but we'll see.
Call Klesko. Call Ryan Klesko.
Fishing,
He used to do it.
Okay.
Fishing is
All right.
great.
I will.
Yes.
Fishing is great. That's definitely gonna be something I'll check out. Don't fish as much, but like living here in Charleston, obviously, and having the beach right here, do inlet fish some. So it'd definitely be fun to do that out west some too.
All right. Well, we'll catch you out there, and really appreciate the time. Enjoy the beginning of spring training. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me. We'll see you out in Arizona.
Yes, sounds good. That's JP Sears. Be right back. And we're here. I'm actually going to queue up. Can we queue up Hot Corner just for 1 minute with AJ, and then he leaves, because I do want to show a little tweet that's playing to what we were talking about earlier. So let's do that. So AJ, this morning you were going back and forth with Ben Verlander, and he was posting how, well, I guess not back and forth. You quote tweeted what he said. Friendly exchange. No ill will. I'm just saying you were kind of clarifying, to be honest, what he was talking about, because there's so much public misinformation, and the education process on arbitration is kind of crazy. So he was talking about how, like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Framber and Tarik Skubal are not to be compared, since Skubal is in the arbitration system. And it's like, no, actually, they're definitely to be compared. That is exactly how the arbitration system works for someone that gets to this point. So you wrote how, if you don't think Scott Boras would have used this contract in the case, you don't know how it works. They absolutely can use free agent contracts. Skubal's a year away from free agency, therefore can use comps in free agency. Jim Bowden, our resident GM, has been texting with me all day, sending me information. Of course, he was on the front office side. He was in these battles for decades, AJ, and he was super adamant, saying this is a no doubter. He was like, Skubal is definitely going to win. I'm actually texting with him right now. I was like, because of course MLB is going to advise the Tigers to go at 19. And I was like, what number do you think the Tigers should have done that would have driven up the midpoint where they would have won? So anyway, he's going back. I'll let you comment, and then I'll let you go, and then I'll
listen, first of all, I wasn't arguing with Ben Verlander. I just wanted people to understand that, yes, it is a different thing. Okay. Free agency, arbitration, different. But because he's 5+, he can use any free agent contract out there that's been signed as a free agent, because he's 1 year away. And I've talked about this. You can use 1 year ahead, and it's covered in the CBA. What most people don't understand is, like, they just hear things on Twitter and they hear things on whatever they're listening to. But in the CBA, it actually lays out the rules of arbitration. And one of the things is, if you're a 5+, you can use free agency. And so that's what Tarik Skubal's, I guarantee you, Scott Boras argued, hey, these guys have all been free agents. They all signed for this. Some of them might have had 3 Cy Youngs, Verlander, Scherzer, those guys. But he's like, this guy's not even a free agent yet. He's already got 2 Cy Youngs. He's dominated he's got his team to the postseason. He's done all these things that nobody really has ever done to that point. So he should be higher than anybody else. Now, the number for the Tigers, listen, MLB 100% has influence on what they file at, okay? If they would have filed at 22, 23 and made the midpoint, 27, 28, they had a better chance. But because they filed so low, and then David Price from 2015 was just a little bit ahead of it, it seemed like all they had to do was just show like, man, he's going to make less than David Price. That's a big thing. And if all they had to do was show $25.5 million and 1 cent, if he was worth 25.5 and 1 cent, he wins. We don't know why they picked he wins. He wins. And that's it. That's all I was trying to say. And I also just keep tweeting at people, even though the internet says that Scott Boras is Framber Valdez's agent, he is not. He is rep by Octagon. So no, Scott Boras did not have any clue that Framber Valdez was signing this with the Tigers when he was sitting in that room. That's it. That's all I want to say. That's it. Congratulations, Tarik.
Goodbye to you, AJ.
Well, before I go, I got to say this, Scott. Happy birthday. It's Hank Aaron's birthday. And it's also my son's 19th birthday. So happy birthday, Austin. I love you. And I appreciate that you guys wore UAB green for him today. I'm going to watch his game right now. He starts at 2:00 Central. So appreciate it. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. And yeah, there you go. That's back when I had the frosted tips, by the way.
Yeah, you guys were matching back then. Yeah. Austin, happy birthday. Good luck in your game. We are wearing your UAB green. AJ, have a good night watching the game. And then we'll see you on Monday. I'll be back with you in person. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Thanks. Go Hawks.
There you go. I'm with you on that one. All right, so let's continue this just for a moment because I'm going back and forth with Bowden right now, and I'll share bits and pieces of what he was sharing with me because the misinformation out there is nuts, right? So the way this works is a 5-year player can be compared to free agents if the roles are similar, statistical profiles line up, performance trajectory is comparable. This is all stuff coming from the CBA. Salaries cited are from recent arbitration outcomes. And then it says why Skubal can reach into the class above, as in the free agency period. He checks the boxes that arbitrators look for when allowing limited class above comps. True frontline starter, Cy Young seasons, hardware and top of league finishes matter a lot in hearings, full high impact season durability. You're getting all of this, right? So I asked JB, I was like, where do you think the number should have been filed? And he's like, I think Boras could have even gone maybe to 36. And the Tigers probably should have filed at like 28. And then he thinks both sides should have settled at 32. So he ends up getting 32 anyway. But he basically said, I mean, there's been a lot of losses actually on the player side with this. So you have to be careful and not go too crazy. Many people thought 32 was crazy. But I mean, here's somebody who's in our rooms all the time, who was fighting on the team and executive side, who said, yeah, I think you could have even potentially gone higher. But the fact that the other side files so damn low, I mean, he said he thinks Skubal could have won even at 34 to 36. Special accomplishments always gets paid in arbitration and always breaks records. And he is the pinnacle of special accomplishments right now. You had someone that was driving the perfect storm, durability plus back-to-back Cy Young awards. That means I am the best. Back-to-back years, making full starts, riding that into the playoffs. I'm a one-man wrecking crew on my team. That is very obvious. We always go, oh, Skubal, and we look at which game Skubal's pitching in the playoffs. It just seemed like a home run, and it ended up being that way. And some people might think we're talking too much about this, but it's a historical case. We like to bring you inside what the game is talking about, and everyone in the game has been talking about this for a bit because it leads to a bigger battle. But it also just says, hey, a guy that's been pitching in the bigs for a while now and who's been in pro ball for 10 plus years and is the best in class is still making what the dude from 11 years ago is making. Imagine if you did that with an NBA player and you looked back at 11 years ago and said, oh, okay, same salaries there. I mean,
especially with,
it doesn't add up.
Especially with how long it takes to get to free agency. You know, the other leagues, it's a different case. And so in free agency, it's been way back to Kurt Flood and the original making of the players union. Like there was no free agency, and some of the things that were brought up by owners, like, okay, well, if somebody leaves for free agency, their first proposal was, if somebody leaves for free agency, then the team that he goes to, the team that he came from, gets to pick whatever player they want from the other team that he goes to. Like asinine things. So arbitration is a very necessary, for I guess some teams, necessary evil, but for the fact of being able to maximize your value as a player, because your career, even if it's 20 years, is very short compared to the length that a team is going to be a team for the history of baseball. And that's why this is historic, because there will be another player who wins 2 Cy Youngs before his last year of arbitration. There will be another pitcher, Paul Skeens, who is increasing his value. And had Tarik Skubal lost this case to Major League Baseball, not to the Tigers, if he had lost this case, then it would have hurt so many other players. I'm not saying like hundreds of players, but the handfuls of players that are able to push salaries for their short careers, like I said. And like Paul Skeens right now is like, let's go, Tarik. Thank you. If somebody owes Tarik any dinner, it's Paul Skeens, because Paul Skeens, he has started out his career better than Tarik Skubal. So if he continues on the trajectory that he has right now, you're talking about a guy who could have 3 or 4 Cy Youngs. I don't even understand how I could be saying something like that. But before this, guys that had multiple back-to-back Cy Youngs before they even reached arbitration, Tim Lincecum, he pushed that before he was even to his first arbitration. So he helped push that. David Price pushed it to where Tarik Skubal is, and now Tarik Skubal pushed it to where Paul Skeens will be.
Perfectly stated. That's what this show's for. We're just trying to explain it all as best as possible, and that should do it. We covered it a lot this week. So now let's get to some other signings we haven't hit yet. Let's start with Miguel Andujar. 1 year, $4 million, San Diego Padres, $2 million in incentives that could bring it up to 6, as far as I know. So what do you think about Andujar landing with San Diego, Kratz? I mean, the Padres have been somewhat quiet. They did bring back Michael King. They lose Luis Ariz. What do you think of their offseason and the Andujar addition? I feel like he has barely gotten any love in the public sphere. He's also played for some crappy teams lately, but he's been really good as a platoon guy.
He has been very good. He doesn't take care of the need for them to add more slug. So I think he's kind of a reciprocal piece, but I think this team is really good. Yes, if you're going to, that's the beauty of baseball. You're going to pick out the negative. Oh, they didn't hit for enough slug. Yes, you're right. They didn't. But they have a dynamic lineup that I think you're going to see in improvement from Jackson Merrill. I think maybe he had a little bit of a down year compared to his rookie year, but he was dealing with some injuries. I think the sky's the limit for him. I think they have veterans that go out there and they play every single day. And they're a playoff team. Yes, they play in a tough division. Is it going to be tough for them to win the division? Yes. Do I think they sat on their hands this offseason? Absolutely not. I think they had their offseason at the trade deadline. And then they went out and brought Michael King back. And there's so many like, running the same team back and the whole offseason. Are they going to have to trade Pivetta? If AJ Preller feels like there's something that will make his team better, he's going to do it. Whether it's getting rid of a top prospect to add a JP Sears and a Mason Miller, whether it's bringing back Michael King on a 3-year type of Sean Manaea type of deal that the Mets gave to Sean Manaea, and Michael King, coming off a little bit of an injury. Like, he's going to make this team the best they can, and I think they were already a pretty good team Could they have done enough this offseason for me to say they're better than the Dodgers? They're even the second best team in the National League. I don't know that they had those moves available to them, and maybe their rotation will be a little short, but I think getting Joe Musgrove back is a huge thing. Bringing Michael King back and having him healthy for his full season is huge. And they have one of the most athletic lineups because they all were shortstops at one point in their career, except for Miggy, little known fact, second place Rookie of the Year. Does anybody know? Scott, do you know who he lost to when he was second place Rookie of the Year?
I do not. What was that, 2017?
18.
18.
Shohei Ohtani.
Ooh.
So it's a good second place.
That's a very nice second place. Yeah, he was highly touted for a while. I remember back then. Oh, the Yankees would never trade Andujar. And then he kind of journeymaned. And last year, how many at-bats did he end up getting? Let's see. 341 plate
322.
I mean, he put together nice numbers last year, especially when he ends up with Cincinnati. But, I mean, this is a dude that should rake against left-handed pitching, can still give you good at-bats against right-handed pitching. I remember one of the stories I read about him last year was how pitchers were getting away with first-pitch strikes against him. He's one of those wait-for-a-strike guys. He got rid of that, started blitzing a little bit more earlier in counts. This is a talented guy, and he's entering his age 31 season. You think that he's been around forever just because we've talked about him forever, but entering his age 31 season should be a nice, solid bat addition, and not a negative on slug. I mean, if anything, he might be a tick above average on slug. Depends what you're looking at least average slug. No
doubles. He's a big doubles guy.
More doubles.
The biggest thing that I think hurt him, because he's got a nice flat swing that controls the zone, and he makes a lot of contact. He's going to be a low on base percentage guy. The biggest thing for him is when he hurt his shoulder, I don't think that power ever really came back consistently for him. I think his rookie year, I think he hit like 20-some homers, 27 homers, 47 doubles. Like that's big slug. Like that's slug that is like, whoa, this guy's going to be a multi-year all-star. His shoulder injury, I think, really, really hurt him. And it was one of those things that now he's redeveloped himself as, that like platoon advantage guy, the ability to, he plays hard. Like he's shifted to mostly to the outfield, if I'm not mistaken, because he was a third baseman when he came up.
Outfield / I don't want him in the outfield every day, honestly, but he'll get some DH time.
Good signing to add to the depth of this team.
Yep. All right, let's speed through. Just quick hitter. Jose Urquidy signs with the Pirates during the show. That looks like about a year and I think maybe $1.5 million for him. So instead of Framber, they go to another former Houston Astro in Jose Urquidy, who's battled some injuries and underperformance and all that. Depth rotation piece for the Pirates. And maybe this means the Pirates are still dancing in the trade waters and they end up dealing away another one of their pitchers. That's been the way that they've mostly acquired offense. We'll see if that continues. That's how they were able to land Password. That's how they were able to land Brandon Lau. They've only signed one big free agent. I guess two technically, right? Who was the reliever they signed? They signed a reliever that I'm forgetting right now. Was it Soto, Gregory Soto? And then they signed Ryan O'Hearn. Yeah. So they just haven't had a lot of success on the free agent water because they're sending out the same offer as everyone else, but good for them to get Urquidy.
I think another one thing real quick, talking about getting a bat for the Pirates. If you're a Pirates fan, like Jose Triolo's not a bad, Jared Triolo's not a bad player. Like, can he be an everyday third baseman? Yeah. And like, he brings a lot of value. So maybe that's why the Pirates maybe aren't saying, okay, we're willing to go that extra money for Suarez. We're willing to go because they think he's going to be an everyday third baseman, or is his value being able to bounce around the infield? But if you have Connor Griffin, you have Brandon Lau, you have O'Hearn at first base, a utility player is less and less valuable when you have dudes that play scheduled to play 162 games in a season. So Triolo's a good player. If you delve into what he does, he is a good player. Is that bat available to make it an upgrade over him?
Yeah. I mean, it's most likely going to be in the trade market at this point, but maybe I'm forgetting someone position player wise. We shall see. Let's slap. Hey, a couple programming notes. Dodgers territory is live right now. Mark Pryor, the former Chicago Cub and current Dodgers pitching coach, longtime Dodgers pitching coach at this point, is on the show. They just had Andrew Friedman the other day. That's what you're looking at there. So you can check out that episode, but they're live right now. So we'll flip you over to that show, whether you're a lover or a hater of what they do. The show does it live. We also have almost half the league, no more than half the league covered with other team shows. If you're looking for more team dedicated content, we work hard on putting those shows together for you. The other territories, Kratz Hatz.
Omaha Storm Chasers. Scott loves the Dodgers, everybody. So make sure you at Scott in your comments about the Dodgers. He loves the Dodgers.
And Kratz hates the Pirates, okay?
What?
He doesn't think they're going to sign anyone ever. Tomorrow's show, AJ Hinch, we'll ask him about a lot from the week in Tigers baseball. Ken Rosenthal and new Yankee Ryan Weathers. Excited to have a Yankee back on the show. See you then.